Lost is on.
Welcome back, you all, everybody. Oh, God, now I feel like Dickie. Oh, yucky, I don't like that. Oh, yucky.
Miss you, Dickie.
We do miss you, Dickie. I hope you're having fun being a Broncos fan, and I hope you now listen to that.
Gross.
Anyway, welcome back to Off Slate Media. Actually, Bite Size Media, a subsidiary of Off.
You're right. I'm just laughing. A subsidiary of Off Slate Media.
We are watching Lost again because we think it's good. Maybe. Anyway, this week is part 2 of the pilot.
Which is funny because
I was just thinking.
I just realized after part 1, I didn't say it in last week's episode, but pilot of the show. Pilot of the plane.
Because he's dead now.
I was gonna say, he's a tree decoration now.
Uh-huh.
But it just occurred to me, like, it probably is just called pilot because TV show beginnings are a lot of times just called pilot. But literally, why would you call it anything else?
It actually has very little to do with the pilot, though.
Oh, not anymore.
Well, it's fair.
Could you imagine, like I mean, plenty of people can, but long-running popular show, you are an integral part to the story, but you have one scene and then you're gone for that's it. It's like that guy. What did we say? Greg
Grunberg.
Yeah. Grunberg is something like a character actor. It's like this gigantic popular thing that has all these episodes, ran for 6 seasons. You have one scene in the first episode.
Wait. Did we determine that he was the Heroes guy?
I didn't look if it was Heroes, but that was his name. Greg.
Yeah, that's that guy that's
it's the guy from
in
Heroes.
A bunch of things. I think he's in Heroes, yeah.
Okay. Also, he's in more than that because I think we see him again, like, as they're going about the season in the... That's
true. We'll probably see him in flashbacks again. But it is just funny, like, his character in the main timeline is just, that's it.
We were talking about that, like, this being the first of several things last episode. That's what it also is for me, too. It's the first instance of no one stays dead.
That is true.
Yeah.
Because even if they're still dead in the main story, we see them in flashbacks all the time.
All the flashbacks intersect.
All the time.
And I remember, this being being one of the coolest things is who's going to show up in Charlie's flashback? Who's going to be at one of his shows? Oh my gosh.
They do a little camera review where you go, what? Yep. And then, of course, it cuts to commercial.
Of course it does. And then it never addresses what it left a commercial with.
I'll be honest, even from my first watch through, I always get very frustrated when it cuts to flashback. I just like the main timeline.
You like what's currently going on.
Yep.
I can relate to that with certain of the backstories.
Yeah. Some are better than others.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder when I've talked about this on Bite Size before, where shows have this thing. It's a lot of shows where and you've said this about anime. The most important things you need are the first 5 minutes of the episode and the last 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
And then in this case, the 30 minutes in between, important stuff will happen, but it's almost like the big stuff is right away and right at the end because that keeps you watching.
Right.
And I hate when it becomes you see the pattern like clearly, and it's like you slog through an episode just to get to what happens right before it cuts off.
Yeah. So
I don't know when that starts. So I'm not looking forward to that, but like I know the start of the show at least has me hooked.
So I will say also that like another show that I've talked about on the podcast before, Once Upon a Time, made by the same people, involves a lot of the same people from Lost, involves a lot of references to Lost, like the clock in Storybrooke gets stuck at 8:15.
Oh, yeah.
Little stupid little clever things. I think one way in which it functions kind of in the same Storybrooke is what it's called. You have to understand the stupid premise of the show for it to make sense.
I know.
But like it has a lot of the same mechanic of we're going to go back and do a flashback of this person, but I think it works better because it's a completely separate life.
Yes.
Their character in the fairy tale is a completely separate thing from their character and what's going on.
Yeah. I only vaguely remember how that show works, but yeah.
Largely in the same way, except for that key difference.
Yeah.
And it has the girl from House, and she's nice. The blonde girl from... She's not blonde in House.
You're not thinking Olivia Wilde. Was she in House?
No.
What's Olivia Wilde from? Like, what show did she...
Who am I thinking?
We could probably check that out.
I don't know who you're referring to.
Jennifer Morrison.
Oh, the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who she was in House.
I not seen House.
Do you know?
No. I know House.
Yes, sir. Have you seen House?
A little bit.
Okay.
I may have seen an episode or two, but
I mean, Steve or someone probably made you watch it.
Yeah, probably.
One. Anyway, who is ready to get back into getting lost?
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right. I'm going to say it again. Let's get lost. Welcome back, everybody. We just watched the second part of the pilot of Lost. Do you guys feel found yet?
No, we're getting knee deep now already.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, there's so much in this second episode that I thought was spread out across the like the polar bear. You never would have made me guess. I would have guessed that the polar bear was in, like, I don't know, maybe Walkabout or something like that.
I thought the polar bear was closer to the beach. For some reason, I thought it was in the woods, like near the beach. Like for some reason in my head, it comes out of the woods onto the beach and he shoots it. But no, they're way up high.
Yeah,
Same thing with I would not have guessed that the transmission was, because I remember that part, but I would not have guessed it in the same episode as this.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do in the middle of these seasons if all of this stuff is like...
That's what I was thinking.
We do nothing.
Nothing.
Like I said, I've seen season 1 4 or 5 times now or whatever, and I'm still like, everything's happened so far in the pilot, and I cannot think of what is going to happen the rest of the season.
Everything's happened so far that I remember.
Yeah.
Or it's like you're starting to watch a show for the first time, and you've seen clips. So it's like, I wonder when these clips happen, and then you'll get 3 episodes in, and everything you've seen has happened. It's like, there's 80 more episodes. How have I not seen anything else in the show? It's just funny, like, some of the most memorable stuff from the show is the pilot, because for a 2-part pilot, that's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
And we had 2 featured characters. It's Charlie and Kate's time on the plane. We haven't had anyone's backstory outside of the plane ride.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. I guess you would count Charlie as a featured character, but I don't know why that's in there. It's only one scene.
I know. I was surprised that he was the second.
Well, that's what what I was thinking as it was playing out. As I was like, is this a thing where that when they say featured character, they don't mean the person with the flashbacks? Because you could say Kate was a featured character because she's a main part of that episode, but we don't see any flashback of her until very near the end.
Yeah, it's more Charlie is the one, but then it's Kate, and I have a feeling as we get deeper into these seasons, the flashbacks will take up more of the running time.
Oh, for sure.
Because then the island becomes we're sitting around having normal human difficulties with each other, fighting, whatnot. But right now it's establishing the island and where they are and why they can't just call for help and
Also, funny story. I was talking off camera, but I'll say it now. The guy that plays the marshal in this is the guy that plays the yellow-eyed demon in Supernatural. It is so interesting how many different people are in a lot of the shows I love.
Well, especially if you're a character actor where, like, he doesn't have that much screen time in this.
Yeah.
Or at least so far, it's like, it makes sense. He films he's there for a week or 2, and then he goes to his next job on another show.
Yeah.
I don't think Supernatural started until the year after this pilot. I don't remember. No, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying. He was also in The Dark Knight Rises.
There's a lot of people in that movie.
There's more characters that are in Supernatural that are in Lost that I'll talk about when we get to them. But
Is Lost ABC?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. What was Supernatural?
CW. Well, WB.
WB. All right. Again, the cliffhanger kind of is like the guy is kind of, not right before we cut, but like the guy has woken up and we've discovered Kate is the person who was handcuffed, and in usual TV fashion, we're told and shown, Kate was in trouble for something, but we don't know what, and I think the next episode answers that.
Yeah.
But it's like
you said, the show is very good at cliffhangers.
And it slowly reveals character details throughout. Yeah. And it's actually a pretty good format. Like, however, when you have that featured character for the episode, it's like you put everyone else on halt for their flashbacks. So we develop this person in the past. And then the next episode we can develop. It's like that's really good at stretching out a story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And season 1, from what I remember, it works. 'Cause season 1. As the show continues, though, you kind of have to add more characters.
I was going to say, you almost get the best of both worlds because you get the episodic fix from the flashbacks, and then you can just use the beach story or the island story to just make it seem like it has more of an overarching story than it actually does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still have to watch it in order. Like some shows you can't, when they're episodic, you can bounce around. This one you cannot. That's another thing I don't think we mentioned too much last week was when this was airing, everyone was talking about how confusing it was. I remember people in my circles who were older, because again I was 10 when this premiered, but at the end of its run as I'm in high school, it's like everyone's talking about how I can't understand what's going on. It's too complicated. And I remember watching your brother again and being like, it's complex and there's a lot of moving parts. I don't think it's like everyone made it out to be this like puzzle you can't figure out. It's like it's not that complicated. It's just a lot.
You also get the benefit of being able to watch it back to back to back to back really quickly.
That is true.
Like I think it's a harder Okay. One of the things I love the most is Kingdom Hearts. Everybody always says
Here we go.
that story is it's so complicated and so convoluted. It's not. It's just a lot spread over a lot of years. There's a lot to remember, and I think that's the same with this. And I think that's the same. I think that's one benefit to moving to the streaming platform sort of thing is that because you don't have to remember as much, you can do a lot more with a story, because when you have to wait a week or 3 months or whatever, you have to rely on your audience to remember a plot point. Yeah. So in that capacity, I think it is complicated because there are so many plot points, and it's not like we tell this story, we tell Jack's backstory and we tell Kate's backstory, and they're like, next. We tell Jack's story, but we didn't get another Jack episode in 10 episodes, or however many episodes it is. It might not be that much.
It's the 5th episode is the next Jack episode.
Point being, that's a month after we saw the first Jack episode.
Yep.
That's a lot to expect an audience to remember all of that.
Yeah. It was nice watching it this way with your brother, because I remember getting to the end of this, like the first season finale we watched together, and it's a cliffhanger ending, and it cuts to the goo.
Yeah.
And we go, oh man, wow, what an ending. Let's put the next disc in. And I'm like, I remember, think of all those suckers who had to wait like a year or 8 months. And he goes, that would have sucked. Let's put the next one in.
Yep.
We can just keep going.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's something else I wanted to bring up, but I can't remember.
We were talking, I don't know if it was the last episode or the intro of this episode. I can't even remember. We were talking about, do you think that they wrote the entire story as is all at one time before the show started. I'm thinking about that again, just kind of thinking about the way Locke was talking about backgammon. I wonder if they had his story written start to finish and then just kind of built it out from there.
Yeah.
Because that would mean that, because he's kind of...
Without jumping ahead.
He evolves into the main character almost.
Yeah.
A root character for sure. Like,
Yeah, so like you wonder if like they had him figured out because he talks about without. Go ahead.
I was just saying it was clear foreshadowing for.
Yeah, well, and like if you talk about okay, they write it season by season, you couldn't really foreshadow like that,
right?
I wonder if when I talked about last week about as it morphs, you have to change what some characters do. Without talking about it, I feel like that's a character where there is a clear beginning to the character as we will get into his backstory. Not next week, the week after, but there's a clear start and there's a clear purpose and role. And as the show progresses, that's one of those changes where it's like, let's do this with him. It wasn't in the plans. It was kind of, that's what it kind of felt like. But again, that's 15 years ago, wherever, 10 years ago, wherever I watched it. But that one feels like a mid-show change for where his character goes. But yeah, he finally talked. He didn't talk at all in the first part.
Yeah.
I think I remember him being one of my more favorite characters too. He's definitely one of the better written ones.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, Locke's great. His backstory is one of the most compelling.
Yeah.
Because when I saw him, I go, that's right, that's right, that's right. Like just everything just comes rushing back. I do like Terry O'Quinn. Whenever I see him, I go, it's Locke!
I don't see him a whole lot.
The thing I saw him in before this was a small football movie called Hometown Legend, which he was a coach. And I've seen him in other character actor. You see him all over the place without realizing it. But that was like the first thing. I think I remember sitting there the first time watching this and going, is that the one guy? Is that the football coach? Yeah, it is. Just it was one of those funny moments. It's not a great movie. Hometown Legend.
Doesn't sound like it would be.
The main character, the one thing I remember is the main character's poor. So when he goes to a diner, he orders a cup of hot water, and he sets it in front of him. He takes ketchup, squirts the ketchup into it, puts salt and pepper, mixes it up, and drinks it. Like that's like his sustenance because he can't afford any food.
Like it's tomato soup.
Or something. I go, I get what he's doing, but that's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's so gross.
Maybe clumpy.
Yes.
But not like chunks of tomato clumpy.
No, but it's like, like the classic ketchup bottle, and he just... And then,
Classic.
and I was
gross.
sitting there going, ugh.
This is a discussion for another podcast, but why is it so difficult for sports movies to be either great? Like, why are they so either yay or ugh?
Because I think they're a slave to their structure of the sport. If it's not about people, it has to be about the sport. And if it's about the sport, you can't change too much. So you kind of have to go with whatever the sport is, and at the end, it's do they win or lose for most sports movies. What are some of the best sports movies? The ones where the sport is not the main focus. Not all, but think like Field of Dreams.
Not the main focus.
Really about baseball.
Hold on. This is an important question for the vetting of the podcast. Do you like Field of Dreams?
I will say yes, but it's been many, many years since I've seen it last.
I'll allow that.
See what I mean? Or like, even you could say Moneyball is about baseball, but it's kind of more about the analytics of the game.
I was going to say it's kind of
than baseball itself.
More about accounting almost, or it's more about statistics.
Yeah,
like remember the Titans. It is about football, but it is more about a lot of other social things and the real story. Like there's more to it than just we're playing a sport.
Which is even funnier, you say about Moneyball, because even that, you said they stripped down to be about one thing when really, when you read the book, it's about a lot of different statistics.
It's a whole bunch. It's like, well, we got to dumb this down for the audience because, you're not going to throw 50 stats at this, but they do one. It's like, if I had someone, if I was a coach and the owner said, he gets on base, that's all we're focusing on. It's like, you got to give me more than that. You got to give me more than that. And there is more. It's just Again, you got to simplify it for the people who don't know.
Well, and just to cut down on the running time and how much you have to explain within the movie, like you said.
Yeah.
I could have done 3. I think 3 would have even been fine, but it's just high base percentage. Whatever. Lost.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of there's not as much to talk about because, again, it was set up, and this is more payoff and setup.
Yeah.
Because it still is set up because that's how this works. It's the pilot still.
Yep. Got the names of the other characters.
Still haven't gotten the names of Daniel Day Kim and his wife. I'm not going to say them because they'll be revealed later and all that.
Can't spoil it.
No.
Yun Jin Kim is the play's son. Kim. Yep. And then okay. Making sure.
Oh, you guys want to? I'm gonna have. This is gonna be my segment. The thing I hate most about Kate this episode. I thought that this rewatch would make me soften towards her plight. It doesn't. When Sawyer is standing there with the gun and they are accusing him of being the criminal, and you know that she's the criminal, spoilers, and it's like she's looking at this and just letting them do this to Saeed or letting them do this to Sawyer, and she's just letting it happen. What a jerk. And that's not the word I actually want to use.
What a dummy.
Yeah.
There we go. Whew. Chills from... Whew.
But her mom is Sabrina the Teenage Witch's
Sabrina
aunt.
the Teenage Witch?
Yes.
Huh.
That's just fun. Keep going.
Her mom is Sabrina the Teenage Witch's aunt.
Okay.
So the shows are connected somehow.
Yeah.
It's all existing in one universe. All canon. I hate the whole thing of canon. I'm tired of it.
I feel like it comes from the Catholic Church, canon law. I could be wrong, but that's where I think it comes from.
I mean, your dad is very smart and has taught you a great deal of things.
Before we close out, we're doing the character thing.
Oh yeah. We want to do favorite character, least favorite character.
Should we all pick a different one for each to kind of follow along?
I just kind of wanted to track our favorite characters as it happened and if they switched, because I think it switches at some point for me.
Yeah.
Are you actually going to write it down?
Yeah, why not?
Why are you writing it down instead of putting it in a Google sheet?
Because I have a pen in front of me and it looks better.
Looks more official.
Yeah, and we can tape it on the wall behind me. So then in 5 years when we get done with this show, it's right there.
Oh. Yeah, because we didn't have to super glue all of those foams to that wall, so tape's gonna work.
It will. Okay.
I did my favorite character of this episode.
Or we do.
This episode.
Or just so far? Are we doing so far
just
or
so
this
far.
episode?
Don't go episode?
Okay,
Oh,
so
boy.
favorite character so far, probably Saeed. Least favorite character, Kate.
That's not changing.
It might change.
What about you, Aaron?
First question: do we have to pick different characters, or can we go with samesies?
I don't care. Then we can average out who the actual favorite character was, I guess.
Okay. Well, okay. So favorite, I'm between a couple. I'll probably go with. I'll stick with. That's a hard one. Charlie.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
And Lee.
Oh yeah, least. I mean, it's pretty easy to just go with Kate at this point. But yeah, we'll go there.
I think I'm gonna say favorite. Just he's awful, but I say Sawyer.
I know
he's making me laugh.
That was the other one
he's
I wanted
horrible.
to. Yeah.
The first actual talking scene, he's being incredibly racist.
See, but
Yes.
okay. yes, he is being racist, but they also captured a lot of what I think the feeling was in 04. Yeah, I think they did that really well. Apart from him being a racist jerk.
Then least I'm saying Shannon, because the whole
you hate her perfect teeth, don't you?
I don't know. The teeth are fine. It was more of the you speak French. No, I don't. Just listen. I can't. Just listen.
Yeah.
If you listen and you don't know, you say I don't know. But she's like, I can't. Just listen to the frickin' message.
That message, I remember that being such a big deal. Like, what does it mean? What's going on?
And then,
Yep.
It's still important. It's just.
That was the other thing I was thinking. Walt, again, without talking about what happens in future seasons, what a plot point that was dropped.
Yeah.
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 Well, anybody else got anything else to say about this episode?
I'm good.
Not really.
I'm ready for the next 150 or whatever is left.
Yeah. All right. So next week, if you want to come back on, we post these on Thursday.
Yes.
Thursday, we're going to be watching Tabula Rasa. Tabula Rasa. How do you?
Rasa.
No, it's Rasa.
Oh. Sure.
Tabula Rasa. We have no idea what that means, but we'll figure it out. Until then,
or we won't.
That is more likely the case with this show. Until then, you can check us out on all our other social media platforms. Jared, where are those at?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, the funny TikTok, and X.
Formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Hate With YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, ring our notification bell, and check out our groovy website. Rate us and like us on all those apps and all that.
And with that said, like Jared said on YouTube, go ahead and ring that notification bell. Get notified every time we upload new content, which for the foreseeable future is this series. Until then, why don't you come on back next Thursday and get a little bit more lost with us? Let's
get lost.